Hudson.
Sir.
Bring some champagne to the drawing room when I ring. I think a bottle of the Crook.
Very good, sir.
Well, Angus, my boy.
I'm sure you have a very good idea what I want to talk to you about.
Yes, I have a faint inkling. Well, shall we have some brandy?
Thank you, sir. That would be most pleasant.
Coffee, darling?
No, thank you, Mother.
Don't be so restless.
Oh, what's taking so long? They can't be discussing his prospects. All England knows Angus owns half Scotland.
I remember when your father was asking for me.
Oh, Mother, please.
Oh, go on, Belle, ring.
What for?
Oh, that's how we know, stupid. That's the sign.
From heaven.
Oh, for Mr. Hudson to take up the champagne for the engagement.
Anybody think it was you's betrothed to the young Scottish laird?
Aren't you excited?
I must admit to enlivening an otherwise routine week.
He's lovely, isn't he?
Lovely.
Very suitable. Though I never thought it'd be an Angus somehow.
Be an Angus, what?
His name. See, I always thought she'd marry a Michael or a William.
Yeah, or a Peregrine or an Arbuthnot.
Oh, you've got no romance in you haven't.
Oh, Mother.
Oh, dearest, don't be nervous. Your father will handle it all beautifully.
I don't think I can go through with it.
What's the matter, darling? You know Angus so well and you like him so much.
That's just the trouble. I like him, but I don't love him.
Do you really mean that?
Yes, I think I do.
Well, then, you'd better think about it very seriously.
What sort of person would you marry, Alfred?
Let's see. Wouldn't be your colouring for a start. They'd be fair
Fair?
and Christian.
Well, that gives you a lot to choose from.
And they'd have a certain notoriety.
What? Do you mean wicked?
Aye, wicked.
Would you marry a wicked person?
Definitely. Soapsuds happy anyway.
What?
Now that Miss Elizabeth's chosen a Scotsman. Aren't you, Mr. Hudson?
I must admit to a certain satisfaction.
Like the cat's got at the cream.
Sir, it must be clear to you from my frequent visits to your house that I've designs, honourable intentions on your daughter. In short, I'm asking you for a hand the new.
I didn't know you could speak Welsh.
Well, Angus, I think that's covered all the details. All that's left for me now is to offer you my warmest congratulations and welcome you into the family.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well, let's have another drink. And I'll break the happy news to the ladies.
Here it is. That's it.
Calm yourself, Rose. Keep calm.
Well, it's not every day that something like this happens, Mr. Hudson.
Thank heavens for that, but there's no knowing with the capriciousness of modern young girls nowadays.
Here. Was he getting at me?
Oh, I don't know. Mr. Hudson speaks in riddles like the Sphinx.
Hudson,
Yes.
you can take that back. It won't be needed.
Thank you. Elizabeth,
I'm very sorry, Angus, dear, but I can't marry you.
you can't mean that.
I'm sorry, but I've changed my mind.
What is this? What's happened?
Papa, please try to understand. Angus, you're very sweet and very kind, and you're going to make someone a wonderful husband, but not me.
But Elizabeth, you led me to believe that
I know, and I blame myself. I just hope that one day you'll forgive me. Oh, it's got nothing to do with you, believe me. Perhaps I'm just not made for marriage. I don't know. I don't think I shall marry for a long time anyway. I have to see the possibilities of life first.
You say that as though life at Loch Bray with me had no possibilities. But it could have, Elizabeth. We'd have to live there most of the time, true, but you'd love the lochs and the moors. And we'd travel. We'd go to other countries as well. And we'd have fine children to love and to look after and to be proud of.
It's no good, Angus.
I hope you've thought about this very carefully.
Yes, I have, Papa. Really, I have. I'm sorry I've caused so much trouble.
Maybe she'll change her mind again with time.
Well, knowing Elizabeth as I do, once she's made up her mind to do something, there's precious little one can do to change it.
Yeah.
Believe me, Angus, you have my sympathy and my affection.
Thank you, sir. I value it. I think perhaps there's little point in my staying any longer.
Yes, Angus. I understand. Hudson, Mr. McAllister is leaving.
Very good, sir. Sir.
Well, goodbye, my boy. I'm sorry.
Yes, well, goodbye, sir.
Come in. Oh, Papa, I'm sorry.
No, my darling. It was just that Angus seemed, in the view of your mother and myself, to embrace all the virtues.
Embrace all the virtues? It would take a Superman to embrace all the virtues, and a very dull Superman, too.
You're misunderstanding me.
I know. Deliberately.
I only mean well.
I know you do, Papa, and you made things much easier just by being there. Poor Angus. Do you think I hurt him very much?
Given time, he'll get over it.
And find a much nicer girl than me. I would like to be married, but not yet. And not to dear, sweet Angus. I mean, can you imagine me banished to all those acres in Inverness? I'd be lost to you both and to myself.
But my girl knows best. And I only want her to be happy.
My dear, I do sympathise. Daughters can be such a trial. I sometimes wish we were back in those simple, barbaric days when things were just arranged as a fait accompli.
My bill, please.
Of course, poor Angus McAllister, for all his evident suitability, is just a teeny bit of an encumbrance. You know, he pursued Agatha all last spring. She had to be quite ruthless with him in the end.
Really?
Dick, my dear fellow, may I join you?
Adam, of course. Do sit down.
Thank you.
Will you have a drink?
Thanks very much, Opal.
Purvis. What will you take?
Whiskey and soda. I say, there's the most jolly rumour circulating that your daughter has snubbed old Hamish McAllister's son. Is it really true?
Well, if you choose to put it that way.
Well, I must say, I couldn't be more delighted. I mean, I'm sorry for the boy. He's not a bad young cove. But anything that sets old Hamish's nose a-quiver has me prancing with delight. But I hope there'll be no political repercussions. The Scots are such a sensitive bunch, they'll probably start wanting home rule again.
Oh, Rose, I seem to have caused so much trouble. Do you think I should have married him?
No, Miss Lizzie, not if you didn't love him.
He was so suitable.
Yes, I know, but all the same.
Tell me about your young man.
What, Miss Lizzie?
The one you nearly married, to take my mind off myself.
He was killed, Miss Lizzie. I thought you knew.
Oh, yes, Rose, I'm sorry. There you are, you see, I was only thinking of myself. We must remedy this immediately.
How?
A series of outings, new interests, painting exhibitions, concerts, and you shall accompany me.
Me, Miss Lizzie?
You, Rose, and we shall start this very afternoon, if we can find something suitable.
Ah, Alfred, have you seen Rose?
It's her afternoon off, Mr. Hudson.
Yes, I know that. But she promised to help me decorate that infernal Christmas tree.
Aye, well, she's gone with Miss Elizabeth to one of them foreign concerts.
How much, please?
2 shillings, please, miss.
Thank you. Keep the change.
Thank you. Good night.
Well, Rose, aren't you glad you came? Your first leader concert. And wasn't Elena Gerhardt thrilling?
Yes, Miss Lizzie.
Oh, Rose, you are delicious. You were bored still.
Wasn't.
Yawning, I saw you.
Well, I think it takes a bit of getting used to.
You're quite right, and you shall get used to it. We'll go again. Look, it's snowing quite hard. Perhaps we shall have a white Christmas.
I think you better go in, Miss Lizzie. You'll get your death of cold.
And so will you, Rose. I'll see you later.
And thank you very much for taking me, Miss Lizzie. It was very kind of you.
Nonsense, I enjoyed taking you. Thank you, Hudson. It's snowing. When are you going to decorate the tree?
Shortly, miss. I'd better take your coat in case it's damp. I trust you enjoyed the concert?
Very much, thank you, Hudson. I took Rose.
So I was informed, miss.
Well, it was her afternoon off.
Indeed.
Is Mother at home?
Yes, miss. She is receiving a visitor in the drawing room.
Ah, friend or foe?
Beg pardon, miss?
I mean, should I go in or slip by the door unnoticed?
I think her ladyship will be pleased to see you. The visitor is foreign.
You make it sound as if her ladyship is positively threatened, Hudson. How foreign? Just a little bit foreign, like a Scotsman.
He is a German gentleman. I understand he made your acquaintance in Dresden.
Oh?
Baron von Rimmer.
Von Rimmer, who couldn't be dimmer?
Baron Klaus von Rimmer. We met at the Thyssons' tennis party.
Thyssons? Tennis?
Yes, darling, you remember.
She has every reason to forget, Lady Marjorie. I remember she was suffering with a grievous head cold. It was very gallant of her to attend at all.
Oh, yes, now I remember. Oh, forgive me, Baron. I was a misery that day.
On the contrary, you looked enchanting. Only your game was a little affected.
The Baron is staying in London for a few weeks to study...
Banking methods over here at the Deutsche Reichsbank. I hope you'll forgive my presumption in calling on you.
It's no presumption, Baron. We're delighted to receive you. Aren't we, Elizabeth?
We should be more than delighted, Mother dear. We should be deeply honoured. But of all the people the Baron must know in London, he should have singled us out. We scarcely exchanged more than 6 words at the Thyssons' tennis party.
Elizabeth!
Oh, no, please. First, let me say I have very few friends in London. I was feeling lonely in my lodgings in Victoria, and I remembered that among the 6 words I've changed with a certain delightful Fräulein Bellamy were included the names Schubert and Goethe, who between them produced some of the finest lieder sounds.
But I've just been telling the Baron. Isn't that a coincidence?
You've been hearing the exquisite Gerhard.
Yes, she was superb.
Sie ist eine der charmantesten Sängerinnen, die ich kenne.
You know Helena Gerhard?
Yes. I was once privileged to study with her in Munich.
Tell us about her, please.
With pleasure.
Did you make much of it then?
What's that, Mr. Hudson?
The concert, of course.
Oh, it was lovely. When you got used to it.
I hope you weren't fooled into thinking it was the cat's whiskers and musical entertainment.
No, I got a mind of my own.
And I hope it stays your own, Rose. There are dangers being made to a headstrong young lady like Miss Elizabeth.
Oh, what's she done to upset you, Mr. Hudson?
Nothing in particular. And referring more to the matter of respect, it has to work both ways.
Oh, I know that.
All very well packing young mistresses off to foreign parts to advance their education, but it's not altogether a good thing, in my opinion. They get taken advantage of.
Oh, in what way?
Oh, heads filled up with foolish ideas, manners forgotten, loyalties questioned. And don't think it's not calculated by the foreign teachers. There's a special name for it.
Well?
Subversion, if you want to know it. That is a deliberate pulling at the roots of a country through its young men and young women, twisting their minds so that in a time of crisis...
Oh, Mr. Hudson, you're not suggesting that our Miss Lizzie...
I'm not suggesting anything, Rose. I am simply giving warning. The signs are all there. Pray God I'm wrong.
What signs, Mr. Hudson?
Mr. Hudson has some funny notions.
Well, that's enough of that.
Going on about them dirty foreigners again, are you?
And that's enough from you, young man.
Well, if only it were, Mr. Hudson. But her ladyship asked me to inform you that the Baron's staying for dinner.
No sooner had I returned from Dresden, they went to work on me, preparing me for the season. Do you know about the season?
Oh, yes, of course, I see.
Oh, really, darling?
It's true. While I was aching to talk about music and philosophy and the people I'd met, they had me walking and dancing and bobbing up and down like one of Professor Pavlov's dogs.
That's a terrible exaggeration. We simply asked you shouldn't enter the room like a battering ram.
Oh, Mother, how indelicate. A battering you, at the very least.
Same sort of problem in your family, Baron?
Oh, yes, my mother was my little sister.
I see. You take their side. You prefer young ladies to be simply frivolous and vain. Very well, that's how you shall have us.
There's room for compromise. You can express yourself within the framework of society.
How, Baron? When I am told it is not ladylike. Indeed, worse. It is a serious disadvantage for a girl to be thought clever. My Aunt Kate's words. How can I express myself? I'm the educated daughter of a politician, and I'm expected to discuss the weather.
No politics.
You see, Baron, because of my husband's position, there is a real danger that Elizabeth could be taken advantage of.
Oh, yes, I see.
What my dear mother really means is that she's afraid I might misbehave and cause a scandalare. But I'd never compromise my papa. I love him far too much.
Well, you're getting a glimpse into our society, Baron. How does it compare with yours in Germany?
Most favorable, sir, in spite of Elizabeth's protest. But then I'm much in love with England.
Why?
Why?
Yes, you've seen very little of it.
Oh, it's not the quantity, it's the quality of life which charms me. And I must declare an interest. I have a cousin by marriage who was related to Queen Victoria.
More than we can boast of.
But I'm very much concerned for England now that these intrepid liberals have taken power.
Why do you use that word, intrepid?
Because they wish to disarm.
Don't write us off too soon. There's still the election to come.
In Germany, Mr. Balfour is much admired.
Even though he sees Germany as a potential enemy and has taken measures to strengthen our defences?
All countries have a right to protect their own shores. And the more everyone is protected, the less possibility of war. I'm sure your father would agree with me.
You would spend money on arms which might more profitably help the poor and uneducated.
It's the poor and uneducated who first need our protection.
I'm sure we'd all agree with that, but the conversation is becoming much too serious. Can't we think of a more diverting topic? Tell us about your lodgings, Baron. Did you say they were in Victoria?
Yes, they are.
After your terrifying experiences in Victoria, I only hope this is free of bedbugs.
I have no such fears.
Now then, I take it you have no valet.
That is so. My uncle was anxious I should make this trip virtually incognito and I should have no special favors. He is the director of the bank I'm studying at. What will he say now I've found myself such a delightful home?
Well, but you must be looked after. You should be valeted by Alfred here for the duration of your stay.
That would seem admirable. You're very kind. Thank you.
Mother dear, how impulsive you are. Whatever will the gossip say? Don't be idiotic.
Alfred. Alfred.
Yes, Baron.
King Alfred, who burnt the cakes.
So I'm told, Baron, but it's my duty usually to hand them around.
My dear, there's no point in hiding the fact. You've unearthed a potential lion after his spanking debut at the Morrisons last night. How did you come by him?
I didn't come by him, Prudence. You make me sound like some sort of beachcomber on the qui-vive for valuables.
It's not a bad description. Don't you think this might be a bit heavy for spring?
Oh, no, Lady Prudence.
Show me something in a lighter weight, girl.
If you really want to know, he came by us.
You mean he just materialised on the doorstep?
More or less. Elizabeth met him very briefly in Dresden.
Well, well, so she's captured a baron. I'm surprised, dear, I must say, after her rather unorthodox behaviour since her return. Not exactly the glittering belle jeune fille. Ah, now that's much more my colour.
Yes, and it's softer.
Yes, I like this. It has style. Give me 10 yards.
Do you wish it sent, Lady Prudence?
No, have it wrapped and taken out to my carriage. I suppose he is a baron. I mean a real one.
Well, of course he is. He's a true blue Junker. The de Tocquevilles know his family.
Oh, well, that's a relief. One hears such dreadful stories these days. One's confidence in foreign gentlemen is apt to be blunted. Oh, now that would make a lovely dress for dear Agatha. She can wear bright colours. Is he in love with her?
With Elizabeth?
Well, of course. Who else are we talking about?
Well, it's much too early to talk of such things. She's only known him a week. Actually, I think it's rather the opposite. She's not at all impressed by him.
Oh, well, then you must bring him to dinner with us without delay. Agatha's home and looking quite ravishing.
Prudence, I have no intention of parading him like a prize bull.
Nonsense, Marjorie. What else would you do with him? Yes, that would definitely suit Agatha. Send me 6 yards.
With pleasure, Lady Prudence.
Bravo, bravo. Warum spielst du immer deutsche Musik? In England gibt's fabelhafte Komponisten.
Zum Beispiel?
Elgar.
Ja, vielleicht.
Vielleicht?
Now, here is a tune. Listen.
A tune.
Listen.
You're laughing at me. All the time you make fun of me. Why?
It's my protection against you.
You need protection.
Like the poor and uneducated. Deutschland, Deutschland, über alles.
God save our gracious King, long live our noble King. We make a good harmony, don't we?
Now you play.
Oh, no, please.
Oh, yes, I insist. Since you claim to have studied with Elena Gerhardt, the stage is yours.
You sing. Good morning, Lady Marjorie.
Oh, good morning, Klaus, dear. Did you sleep well?
To borrow an English expression, like a top, Lady Marjorie.
Good.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, Baron.
Scrambled eggs, I think. And some coffee, please.
Aunt Kate writing from Monte Carlo. She says she's all right, but the place is infested with Frenchmen.
Well, that's not surprising, is it?
No.
Good news, I hope, in the world.
I beg your pardon?
The newspaper.
Oh, yes.
What are your plans for today, Klaus?
Oh, Elizabeth has promised to take me to the Houses of Parliament.
Oh, that'll be nice.
Have you chosen an interesting day?
Not at all, I'm afraid. Most of it will be taken up by some minor fishing squabble.
A naval matter?
Are you particularly interested in naval matters?
Oh, I see, he's in our family.
I thought it was banking.
Both. One uncle is a banker, another an admiral.
Christmas card from that fearful Lady Mackwood. Funny how she's always the first.
Will you be at the house today, sir?
I shall be later, but this morning I have a meeting.
Committee of Imperial Defense? It's not a secret, is it? Elizabeth told me.
What did I tell you? Morning, Mother dear.
Morning, darling.
Morning, Papa.
Morning, darling.
You must forgive my curiosity, sir, but I'm, as you may have judged, a keen student of politics.
Kedgeree, Davy.
The theory or the practice?
Both.
Tea or coffee, Miss Elizabeth?
Coffee, please.
Letter from Penny Martindale back in England. We must ask her over.
Perhaps we could talk sometime.
Her handwriting hasn't improved.
I should be delighted, Baron.
This evening?
No, not this evening, Klaus. We're going to the de Tocquevilles, then on to the opera.
But sometime soon, I hope.
Oh, surely.
Now, do you excuse me a moment? Oh, dear. That's
Stupid of me.
Can I do anything?
No, thank you, with Alfred's help.
Did you want to speak to me?
Yes. Is it serious?
Well, no, nothing that can't be mopped up. Alfred's seeing to it.
What?
You mean the spill?
No. I meant the relationship between Elizabeth and our guest. Well, I thought I detected something across the table between them.
Well, now you come to mention it, yes, I think there has been a change. Why, darling, does it worry you?
No, not yet.
He is a Junker, you know. One of the best and worthiest families. She could do worse.
Oh, yes. It could be a tradesman's son with radical views.
Really?
Take me to the Houses of Parliament.
You're looking very pleased with yourself?
We're in love.
Who's we?
We are, in a manner of speaking,
What are you talking about?
being but the reflections of our masters.
Oh, Alfred. Get off. Alfred, Mrs. Bridges is here. You please put me down.
What's the matter, Mr. Hudson? Don't you believe in love?
I believe in it, if it's kept in its place. Down.
But not between us and them, eh? Foreigners. Do you want to know something? Germany's beginning to appeal to me. I've been hearing a lot about it lately.
When?
In the course of my duties.
Why don't you go there, then?
Do you know I might and all?
What's this?
Huh? Oh, I was wondering when you'd notice it. Do you like it?
Where'd you get it?
It's a present from my master.
The Baron gave you that?
I serve no other master, not at the moment, anyway. Well, what's wrong? There's no law against getting a present, is there? It is Christmas, Mr. Scrooge.
Well, you got what you asked for.
I was spellbound, such pomp and tradition.
Grimsby Trawlerman.
Your Thames is very wide here,
Not so wide as the Rhine at Köln.
but more important.
Are we as great as the fatherland?
Oh, in some ways greater. Your empire,
It's cracking.
system of government,
Poof.
the men it produces, men like your father, incorruptible. Why do you laugh?
He's a clergyman's son. It must show. And he wouldn't thank you for it. Makes him sound like one of those old diehards.
He's more liberal?
Oh, careful. He's what do we say, open-minded. Flexible, I think.
Flexible.
What you have to realize about Father is he married into the party. Oh, he was very clever and he went to Oxford and things, but he owes his career entirely to my mother's family.
Diehards.
Yes, rather. I think he feels trapped on the home front. That's why he's concentrated more on foreign affairs. I may be wrong.
I assume from what you say that he's dependent on your mother's family financially.
Oh, yes. Everybody knows that.
Is he ambitious?
Much as the next man.
But it would need a courageous, perhaps unorthodox step for him truly to break free.
Yes. Have you something to suggest?
Sorry about that, Willie. I had to see the deputy speaker. Goodness, it's freezing out here. Come in and have some tea. Well, there you are, Baron.
Good evening, sir. I was just admiring your chandelier.
Oh, really? Nothing very remarkable about it.
Are you sure? Reminds me of one I once saw in Florence. Very beautiful and very valuable.
Well, Baron, let's stop all this, shall we? You clearly have a proposition to make. Why don't you frankly declare yourself? And then I can call off the hounds who are, at this very moment, making an exhaustive study of your background.
Nothing would give me greater pleasure. My business card.
I see. Well, I was never very convinced by your banking story. So they're employing young barons to do their sales talk these days.
I thought you might have known that.
Come on, Rose, tell me the symptoms.
Oh, you asking me, Miss Lizzie?
Yes, you read Hilda's Home Companion. Isn't that what they were always concerned with?
Oh, I think it's a bit different in there.
Well, why should it be? It's the same for all of us. We all get the same pains.
You got a pain, Miss Lizzie?
Yes, Rose.
Whereabouts?
All over, and it's rather delicious. But the funny thing is, I don't like him very much.
You don't like him?
No. Can you believe that? I love him, I think. But I don't like him. Oh, Rose, isn't it marvellous? Aren't you happy for me?
Yes, Miss Lizzie. I'm happy.
But someone isn't. Who?
Well, it's nothing like that, and I know I shouldn't say anything really, but it's Mr. Hudson.
Hudson?
Yeah, well, it's nothing against the Baron personally. It's just a general dislike he has of foreigners, and he will keep going on about it. He's heard that there are thousands of Germans already in this country on the south coast, working as waiters and hairdressers. But they are all really trained soldiers, and if there ever should be an invasion, they'll all rise up and slaughter us in our beds.
So you see your country, not France, as our aggressor?
Oh, yes, of course, don't you? Germany plans to absorb Holland into her empire. We have 70 million people. We want commercial preeminence. England has only 40 million, and France the same, so you'll have to join forces. And the Low Countries will be the battlefield. Can't be long delayed, particularly if the Liberals gain power and try to disarm.
In the event of war, I don't think you'd find us unprepared.
That is not enough, sir. To maintain peace and avert catastrophe, your fleet must actually be superior.
And your German munitions company have suggestions to keep us superior in the interests of peace?
Mr. Bellamy, there are many in my country, artists, musicians, philosophers, and ordinary people who are appalled at the upsurge of nationalism, who seek only to live their lives in a peaceful and united Europe.
And some of them work in armaments firms?
Yes. Why not?
Oh, come now, Baron. We all know about the gentlemen who sell arms to both sides, then stand back and watch them engage. What is it you have to sell?
It's a new form of naval gun mounting for His Majesty's battleships. These are some preliminary details and costs. You will see as you study it, it's far superior to anything that Vickers have to offer at the present time.
Well, naturally, of course. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. Any deal of this sort would give you access to many of our naval secrets.
Most of your secrets are known to us already, I'm told. As I continually emphasize, we seek only
Tell me, why didn't you approach our government from the proper channel?
I'm sorry, sir. You are a former Undersecretary of State for the Admiralty and a member of the Committee of Imperial Defense. Are you not a proper channel?
I was referring to your befriending of my daughter in Dresden, your subsequent maneuverings into my household. Well, my dear chap, I don't particularly mind. I was just curious to know how you fellows operate these days.
I admit I had to gain access to your confidence.
Using Elizabeth?
Yes, it was my method. But it was in your best interest, too. My company couldn't openly approach the British government. The selling of arms is the most delicate matter for all concerned.
So really, you're just testing the bathwater?
A little more positive than that, I hope. But as for the feelings which have developed between Elizabeth and myself here, this is a separate matter and will remain separate from any dealings we might have.
Well, I don't see how you can divorce the two things entirely, but no matter.
Obviously, you are mistrustful. Sir, I have the greatest respect for your daughter. I would never do anything to hurt her feelings.
Yes, all right. I've no doubt she can take care of herself. Tell me, what are you expecting me to do with these papers?
And you have satisfied yourself that they're genuine. To use your influence and persuade your government to enter a contract with my company.
But haven't you come to the wrong chap? I mean, I'm no longer part of this government, nor likely to be.
You remain on the Committee of Imperial Defense, and that is what matters to us. Perhaps I should add that the contract would be made for obvious political reasons through a Swiss subsidiary, which my company will control, of course.
Quite. Well, Baron, I'll look through these papers, and if I see fit...
And it goes without saying, should you be interested in a substantial shareholding in this Swiss company, I mean you personally, it can be arranged.
I see, yes.
Such financial interlockings between our two countries can only enhance the prospects of peace.
Indeed.
However, there's plenty of time to discuss this side of things. You'll see the sign is...
Oh, sorry.
Elise.
Am I interrupted?
Mein Schatz, du siehst entzückend aus, wirklich ganz bezaubernd.
Danke vielmals, Herr Baron.
Thank you, Purvis.
Thank you, sir.
You read the documents?
Rather.
What do you think? Are they bona fide?
Oh, absolutely.
And the price?
Very fair.
So, under normal circumstances, we might have bought.
Why not by now?
Oh, my dear Adam. It's obvious what's behind it. We're trying to set up an intelligence organization right in our very midst. Well, don't you agree?
I can't deny it's possible. Thank you. But you've got to consider the types you're dealing with. These armaments creatures. They're above nationalistic considerations. I mean, just look at their pedigrees as individuals. Half the nations of Europe in their blood. They're in it purely and simply for the loot.
What about their agents, men like von Rimmer?
The dedicated Anglophiles? They're the interesting specimens. I say, is it true what I hear about this fellow and your daughter?
Oh, never mind that.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Well, let's just think for a minute. Military speaking, they've something to offer. And it's politically sound vis-à-vis the election of the Liberals.
Yes, we could whip up a scare about Tirpitz's ever-growing fleet.
Exactly. And on the personal front, I take it you've been offered a hefty bribe. Well, haven't you?
Shares in a Swiss bank.
Standard procedure.
Is it?
Of course. Oh, I forgot you're new to this game. Yes, so, personally, we'd start again.
We?
You'd count me in, wouldn't you? Cry tally-ho and all for peace and away we go.
Couple of shifty profiteers, huh?
Will you never be persuaded?
I can't forget my humble and pious origins.
I know, Dick. And that's your epitaph.
Meantime, what do we do about the Baron? We can't make a move against him until we've actually agreed to be corrupted.
Well, yes. Well, these people usually have a few incriminating documents they want us to sign. We better wait for them, I suppose.
We'll need a witness.
Well, that's easy enough. I think the best thing is to rig up a meeting. Say, dinner at your house next week?
He plans to leave next Tuesday.
Monday, then. A sort of fond farewell. You agree? Good. Yes, it's time we pounced on one of them.
In Germany, Christmas Eve is a true moment of Christmas.
Tell me about it. What do you do?
Well, in my family, father and mother decorate the Christmas tree. Nobody's allowed to see it until they're finished and the candles are lit. Father rings a little bell, and we all go in, and we look at the tree, and the children sing carols, and we all open our presents.
Go on.
Well, we always have snow for Christmas. And the pine trees around the house stand out white against the sky, and the stars glitter in the cold. It's beautiful, like fairyland.
Tell me some more.
Then we have our great big Christmas dinner. We have goose every year. It's a tradition in my family. And we have lots of wine. And we all have the feeling that there's no other place on earth to be on Christmas Eve. Can you understand that?
Not even here, with me.
Of course with you, but not here, there.
Then take me with you.
To Germany tomorrow?
Why not?
Your family.
Oh, they wouldn't mind. Take me with you, please. I love you. I want to share everything with you. I want to be with your family on Christmas Eve. I want to see your candles lit and hear your carols. Please, Klaus. It would make me very happy, and I'd make you happy, too. I promise you.
No, it's not possible. Next year, perhaps. My bill, please.
Oh, there you are, darlings. I was beginning to worry. Our dinner guests will be here in an hour.
You must forgive me, Lady Marjorie. It was entirely my fault. After the exhibition, which was
Boring.
enchanting...
He persuaded me to have tea at Gunter's, which was delicious.
It's only that Elizabeth takes so long to dress these days.
Oh, Mother, how unfair.
Now, you know you do, darling. You spend all your time chattering with Rose. Hello, Potter.
Good darling. Oh. Good evening, sir. I have the agreements regarding the Swiss company. Your colleague is coming tonight?
Yes.
I also have preliminary contracts for the deal itself. I think neither he nor yourself will be disappointed.
That, of course, will take some time.
Oh, of course. But tonight we set the wheels in motion. Will you excuse me, Lady Marjorie?
Yes, of course.
The bath's ready, Baron.
Thank you, Alfred. It suits you.
Thank you, Baron.
You've been using this? Yes?
Yes.
You stupid boy!
Tab, a little touch,
I don't care for myself. You can take what you want. But what about the family? What will Elizabeth, her father, her mother say if you serve them at dinner and you stink? Stink!
Sorry.
So you should be.
I'm not worthy.
No, you're not worthy. However, on your feet. Up, I said. And now come here. And be forgiven.
Miss Elizabeth, you're laying on that frock I put out for you. You'll spoil it.
I don't care. He's leaving and I want to go with him.
Well, he'll be coming back.
I don't see why he should, since he doesn't love me.
Of course he loves you. Whatever makes you say such a thing?
Oh, I don't know. Run me a bath.
You haven't got time. Besides, the Baron's taken all the hot water.
The Baron. Then I shall go and step into it with him.
Miss Elizabeth, how can you even imagine?
Oh, don't be so shocked, Rose. We're living in modern times.
Good evening, Lady Prudence. Mr. Adam. Good evening, Hudson.
We're not together, Hudson. We both arrived on the doorstep at exactly the same moment.
A pure accident. Delightful vision of a lady in distress?
Madhouse.
Rose,
You get away from me.
Rose, how dare you behave like that in front of the guests?
I'm sorry, Mr. Hudson, but I...
What's the matter with you? Do you know why she's crying?
Don't ask me. It's nothing to do with me.
Right, upstairs you. Serve the drinks.
Go on with you now, look sharp.
All right, Rose. Now you tell me what this is all about.
I can't, Mr. Hudson, but I'm all right now. Promise.
Can't think why I was invited tonight, and at the last minute.
I'm sorry, Miss Darling, but Richard insisted we should get someone for Adam. Who could I ask but an old friend?
Most unfortunate as far as I'm concerned. I thought it was common knowledge I can't be in the same room as Sir Adam Blake. He once grossly insulted me in Sevastopol. I think you might have shown a little more tact.
But that was ages ago. And anyway, I always wondered if it was quite true.
It was true.
And it's high time you made it up.
Ah, Klaus, there you are. I think you know Lady Prudence, don't you?
Oh, yes. Good
evening.
Baron, I don't think you met Sir Adam Blake. Baron Klaus von Rimmer.
Come, have some tonight.
Alfred?
Yes, I think so.
What do you think?
Yes, he runs the type. That strong Teutonic bone structure, dashing by the ladies. Where do we get the documents to sign?
After dinner.
Over the port. Sound idea.
The least fuss.
Absolutely.
Oh, my dear Baron, we shall miss you terribly. You've added lustre to an otherwise dim season. You'll find some excuse to return in the new year.
Unfortunately, the Deutsche Reichsbank have given me only a limited number of their methods to study, and I've exhausted them all.
Then you must return under your own steam, if you'll forgive the vulgarity. I'm sure Elizabeth would wish it. If they won't have you here, then you must come and stay with me.
The most eligible widow in London and the handsome young baron under the same roof. What would the gossips say?
I invite the Baron here and now to return to us in January.
But you have your elections.
We shall parade you on the hustings.
Oh, then they'll have to give us women the vote.
Margaret, my dear. You look younger and lovelier than ever.
Thank you.
Prudence, dear. Come and look at this. I picked it up in Sotheby's the other day.
Oh, it's enchanting.
With the greatest of pleasure.
What did you do to Prudence in Sevastopol?
Oh, well, that's a long story.
Mother wants you to play for us after dinner, will you?
If it pleases her.
Well, it won't please me. I shall probably cry.
Then Rose must fetch you a handkerchief.
Ich bin sehr traurig.
Mr. Hudson, could I have a word with you, please? Please, Mr. Hudson. See, I can't hold it in no longer.
Pull yourself together, Gary. Come on outside quickly.
No, she can never
What are they finding so funny?
You're absolutely sure about this? And you've told me everything.
Yes, Mr. Hudson. But you must understand that never in all my days.
All right, Rose, I understand your feelings. You go downstairs to the dining room.
Oh, I couldn't, Mr. Hudson. I couldn't serve at table tonight. Not with Miss Elizabeth there and me knowing what I know and her still thinking...
And that's why you've got to keep working, Rose, so she's kept from knowing.
Well, what about Alfred?
You leave Alfred to me. He won't be there. And Rose, keep all this to yourself, do you understand?
Yes, Mr. Hudson.
Good girl. Off you go, then.
I hear these new dreadnought battleship things are absolutely no use at all, Sir Adam. They sink if you so much as look at them.
That may well be, dear lady, if they come under your hypnotic gaze.
Go downstairs and wait in my pantry. Stay there and talk to no one until I've seen you. Off you go now.
Hudson, are you nearly ready? I think we are.
Very nearly, my lady.
Hudson, where's Rose?
She has duties in the dining room, Miss Elizabeth.
Oh, bother. I wanted her to fetch me a handkerchief. Come.
Might I have a brief word with you, sir, in private?
What now, Hudson?
If you would, sir. It is possible, of course, sir, that the girl was mistaken.
No, Rose would never speak on such a matter unless she was certain.
That was my opinion, too, sir. I take it the gentleman will not be staying for dinner.
On the contrary, Hudson, as a matter of vital government importance that the Baron remain in this house for the next 2 hours at least. I have a detective inspector arriving from Scotland Yard at 10 o'clock. He'll ring at the back door. See that he's attended to until I specifically call for him.
I understand, sir.
And, Hudson, I rely on your absolute discretion and ask you to deal with Alfred.
I will, sir.
In the meantime, will you ring the gong for dinner?
Certainly, sir.
What did Hudson want?
Oh, nothing. Just some domestic problem.
Why didn't he come to me?
I really couldn't say.
Then I shall ask him.
No, Marjorie, you won't. Not on this occasion.
I insist.
And I said no, Marjorie. Be ruled by me just once in a while. I'll explain it all later.
Is it your intention that we should continue our vendetta to our graves, Sir Adam?
What vendetta, dear lady? I was not aware
You
that...
know perfectly well to what I'm referring. An incident in Sevastopol some years ago when you wounded me deeply.
Were we deep-sea fishing?
What?
The only woman I ever remember wounding deeply was a lady I once went deep-sea fishing with. I got her by accident with a harpoon.
If I was a gentleman, I would have demanded satisfaction.
And as a gentleman, madam, I should have been forced to give it you.
Oh, you're as incorrigible as ever.
That goes without saying. Incorrigibles ripen with age, like most other fruits.
Excuse me. I have to make an urgent telephone call. Will you please excuse me?
Of course. Did I tell you dear Agatha's been invited to Beaver for the weekend?
Oh, good. That's nice for
Yes.
her. How boring for her.
Shall we have dinner?
It's no good, Mr. Hudson. I can't go through with it.
Rose, here they come.
How delightful always to enter the Bellamy dining room. Such a feeling of happy anticipation.
And happy returns. Thank you, Hudson.
Where's that lugubrious footman of yours, Marjorie? The one who always makes me laugh.
Yes, Hudson, where is Alfred?
He's indisposed, my lady. Will you be waiting for the Baron before commencing, sir?
Certainly, Hudson, of course.
So, we're to have a German Baron for dinner. I hope he tastes as good as he looks.
Well, I'm sure he'll be more to my taste than some of your dreadful jokes, Sir Adam.
Well, so that we don't all starve to death, I'll go and look for him, shall I? Will you excuse me?
Sweet child. One can't help observing how very much in love she seems to be.
His room's quite empty. His clothes aren't in the cupboard.
What?
He's gone.
It's so awful that I should have invited him to stay, a pervert in our house.
You weren't to know.
And then to corrupt our footman and take him away.
Well, perhaps they deserved each other.
Poor little Elizabeth. She was so in love with him. What on earth should I tell her? I mean, she's too young to be exposed to such things. It would destroy so much for her.
I'll go up to Elizabeth in a moment. Alone.
Richard, she must never know.
I want you to leave this to me. And trust me.
He was a spy, Rose. Do you know about spies?
Yes, Miss Elizabeth.
An agent who sells deadly weapons. Using me, I suppose, to get to Papa and compromise him. Do you think that's bad?
Yes, Miss Lizzie.
But Father was too clever for him. He brought in Sir Adam, who's a celebrated spy catcher from the Navy. You'd never think it. They were going to arrest him. He must have realized, so he left. Without a goodbye. To get home in time for Christmas. Better than a Brixton cell, anyway.
I'll finish now, Miss Lizzie.
Yes, all right. Night, Rose.
Good night, Miss Elizabeth.